Friday, and thanks for tuning in to radiofreerhinecliff.org. And this show in particular, correct me if I'm Norm, I'm your host, Norm. I'm thrilled to be here tonight with Al Mazzella. Did I pronounce that right?
You did, sir.
Great. Thank you so much. You did, sir. Now, Al has one of the most famous voices in all of Rhinebeck. And lots of people do an impersonation of your voice. Are you aware of this?
Yes, I have.
So you've heard people do this.
There have been people on TV that have tried to match my voice.
And like Jeffrey Dean Morgan, or
correct, with Jimmy Fallon.
Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah, that was a funny episode.
That was a really funny episode.
And I'm sorry, go ahead.
And Jimmy Fallon said to Jeffrey Dean Morgan, "Oh, go give Al a hug for me."
Correct.
In this, because Fallon's from Saugerties.
Correct.
Where you have a shop, and Morgan's from here. So somehow, I think maybe Fallon brought it up, like, "Oh, do you know Al over there?"
Right. Right. My son went to school with Jimmy. And his mom and dad are great people. Unfortunately, Mrs. Fallon passed away several years ago.
Right.
And we did the funeral for her in Saugerties at our dining room. And but besides that, that's how we know the Fallon family.
Right. So this thing, I mean, I think Fallon is live, right?
Correct.
So did you happen to be watching that night?
No. What had happened that next morning, I was in Williams Lumber. I went to get some material for the shop, and a couple of the guys that worked there said, "Al, you're going to be famous. You're going to be famous." And I basically said, "I don't know what you're talking about." "Well, Jimmy Fallon mentioned you on the TV show last night with Jeffrey Dean." I says, "I don't know anything about it."
Right.
Long story short, I had called my son and my wife, and they had pulled it up, and that's how I knew that my name was mentioned on the Tonight Show. So it was a funny skit.
Yeah. Well, it was just an interview. It was really sweet. And it's nice to see people on national TV sort of like boosting your hometown and boosting your establishment.
Correct. Yeah. It was really nice. Really nice.
And was there any bump in sales after that? Did people come in to
no,
see you?
I don't think there was. There was just a lot of customers coming in congratulating me that, you got a little, like you just stated, a little bump on TV.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about it is I was standing outside the shop several days after, and Jeffrey Dean was on his motorcycle, and he waiting for the light, and he took his helmet off, and he yelled across to me, "Al, I owe you a big kiss," from from Jimmy Fallon. I realized it was him. So it was just nice that my name was mentioned on TV, and of course, Village Pizza.
Right. And you say standing outside the shop, as you often are. I'll drive by, I'll see you on a nice day, standing outside the Rhinebeck shop. Anyway.
Correct.
And watch the people. So are you aware, I asked somebody this a few weeks ago on this in this show, a fellow retailer in Rhinebeck, are you aware of having a certain degree of celebrity, of recognizability anyway?
We do have actors and actresses coming in the shop.
But I mean, you personally, it's like everybody I know in Rhinebeck knows you.
Okay.
Are you okay?
Yes.
But you're aware of that
to some
degree.
Yes, I am.
It's an interesting kind of celebrity, the celebrity of sort of like the maitre d' or the owner of, or the shop person who runs a shop. And when, let me ask this, when did you first realize that you had that particular kind of celebrity?
How long ago are you asking?
Yeah, or you remember when you're like, "Oh, wow, look, everybody's going to know me because of this."
You know what? I treat everyone the same.
Right.
Like I treat my staff and my family. Like I try to teach my staff and my family. We're not in the pizza business. We're in the people business.
Right.
And everybody gets treated the same, whether you come in and get a slice or whether you come in and get 10 large pies.
Right.
You get treated the same. But I treat everyone with respect.
Right.
And whether you're a star walking in and I recognize you, I don't get all crazy, you understand? I don't start asking you for your autograph. That's why you come in. You come in because you're like a regular customer, and no one's annoying you, no one's bothering you.
Right.
No one wants to take a photo with you, and that's how I treat everyone.
Right. And you don't have photos of stars on the wall there, do you?
I don't.
But you,
I could have asked many people to take photos with. I don't want to annoy them or bother them.
Right.
I'm afraid they're not going to come back.
it's good business policy.
And that's even customers in the store. Al, do you think I said, please. They come in, they don't want to be bothered. They're great people.
Right.
If you want to do something outside, I can't tell you what to do. But if you're in my restaurant, my shop, I would appreciate it if you didn't annoy them or bother them.
Right. And have you ever had a celebrity come in and you've been a little starstruck? Like, oh my God, it's Frank Sinatra or whatever.
We had Danny DeVito came in. And he was with, I can't think of the other gentleman's name, Timothy Hutton.
Oh, nice.
Danny DeVito and Timothy Hutton walked in one Saturday evening. It was very late. Back then, I used to close at 11, 12 o'clock on the weekends, which I don't now. But they got out of a limousine in front of the shop, and I was happened to looking outside, and I said, okay, we have a wedding party or something like that coming in. Again, it was Danny DeVito and Timothy Hutton, and they walked in. They ordered a couple of pies. They wanted to buy 6 or 12 packs of beer, which at the time, I didn't have a beer and wine license at the time, but I was shell-shocked that little Danny DeVito was standing at my counter.
Right.
I was kind of surprised. And he asked me where he could buy beer. And what was the supermarket called before Tops?
Stop and Shop.
Was it Stop and Shop? Okay. I said, there's a Stop and Shop right on Route 9. It's about a quarter of a mile away.
Right.
And what he said to me is, there's too many effing people. That's exactly what he said to me.
Too many effing people.
Too many effing people. And
Yeah.
we left it at that.
Right.
And I offered them something to drink while they were standing there, and we were chatting for a while. But I was shell-shocked when he walked in.
Right. That's
He was one of them. There was someone else, too, who has passed away. Iman,
oh right.
remember her husband?
David Bowie.
David Bowie. They came in several times. And the first time he walked in, I was in awe. I couldn't believe it was David Bowie.
Right.
And they came in with their little daughter at the time.
So sweet.
So there were two actors that walked in that I was kind of shocked about.
Right. Well,
We've had others, but I wasn't shocked.
Right. Well, I mean, he's David Bowie, and she's just ridiculously striking.
Yes,
A really striking woman.
yes.
Yeah, I used to.
I remembered. I remembered as of this moment what they had ordered for dinner,
Nice. What'd they get?
and he had gotten at the time it was we still make it penne alla vodka with shrimp,
Uh-huh.
and she had ordered chicken marsala with a pasta. And I went over once or twice to see if everything was okay, like I do to everyone.
Right.
And she didn't eat her pasta. And I had said to her, how will you expect to get big and strong if you don't eat your pasta, you know? So she sort of chuckled about that, and we went on. But they were really nice people. They came in several times.
Love that.
From what I heard, they have a place up in Germantown.
Oh, okay.
That's what I had heard at the time.
Yeah, at one point, I think they had a place in Woodstock.
Okay.
Yeah, but, if you're Iman and your ex is you're David Bowie, you probably have places everywhere.
That's true. That's true.
Now, you said they ordered chicken marsala and penne alla vodka with shrimp.
With shrimp, correct.
Now, it dawned on me last night, thinking about talking with you today, that I don't think I've ever gotten anything other than pizza there. And so I went in last night. I got a slice.
And you got a full menu.
I got a slice, and I got the menu. And I'm looking at it. I'm like, oh, my God, I got to try all this stuff.
There
It
you
all
go.
sounds so good. But what percentage of your sales would you say are pizza versus the rest of the stuff?
I would say it's a good 70 to 30.
70% pizza.
70% pizza, 30% subs, heroes, and entrees and dinners.
Right. Right. They look ridiculously
Well,
good.
it's a full restaurant. The menu
Right.
is the same in Rhinebeck as it is in Saugerties.
Okay.
Same menu.
And Saugerties was your first location?
Saugerties was my first location. I took that over from Mom and Dad in 1987.
Okay.
Mom and Pop, who are my in-laws, not my mother and father, they're my in-laws, they opened up the first Village Pizza in Saugerties in 1971.
Okay.
Mom and Dad have had pizzerias in Brooklyn and Manhattan also.
These are your parents?
No, these are my in-laws.
Your in-laws?
My in-laws.
So you married into the business?
I married into the business, correct.
Uh-huh. And what were you doing before?
Before I went into the pizza business, when I first got married, I worked for United Parcel in Manhattan.
Oh, nice.
I was a package driver for about 3 years.
Was that
And
down
then I
the-
was a central driver for about 4 years.
Nice.
Trailer driver.
Oh, nice. Dan, was that down there in Houston Street? And
No, that was on
near the west side?
43rd and 12th Avenue.
Okay.
That was in Manhattan.
And how long were you doing that?
I did that for about 6.5, 7 years.
Uh-huh.
And after that, we had moved upstate from Staten Island, Brooklyn, where we came from.
Okay.
And we moved up here, and we were here for about a year.
Okay. And,
And,
who's we, you and your folks, or you and your wife?
It was me and my wife.
Okay.
And, of course, my son, who was a baby at the time.
Okay.
And we moved upstate, and we moved to Saugerties.
How come?
Excuse me?
Why? Why Saugerties?
My father-in-law wanted his daughter closer to him
Okay.
because he had moved up from Brooklyn.
Uh-huh.
And I thought it would be a beautiful place to raise my son,
Right.
and which I did. So we moved upstate, but we only lasted about a year. Being a street guy, being a Brooklyn guy, it was hard for me to get used to the country life.
Right.
So we had rented our home, and we moved back to Brooklyn.
Oh, okay.
And when I moved back to Brooklyn, I was down my dad was a longshoreman. He was a checker longshoreman down the piers
Okay.
in Brooklyn.
Solid job.
And I ended up being a longshoreman along with my dad.
Uh-huh.
And we did that for about, I'm going to say roughly for about 3 years.
Right.
And what did we do after that? We moved back upstate.
I see. So let me ask about those 3 years. Was it nice working with your pop?
I was working on the same dock as him.
Okay.
I didn't work with him.
I see.
I was a longshoreman. I used to unload and load container ships.
Right.
My dad was a checker. He was a merchandise checker. He would check all the cargo coming in and cargo coming out.
Okay.
So I was fortunate to get on the piers with him.
Right.
But I didn't work on the same dock every day. I sort of shaped, which means you went to a shape hall in the morning, and they would send you to Jersey, send you to Staten Island.
Wait, a shape hall?
It's called a shape hall.
Okay.
When you're a newbie, that's what you do,
Okay.
and which I did every morning. I was at the hall before 7 o'clock,
I see.
and they'd say, all right, Al, you're going to Pier 13, or you're going to Stapleton, or you're going to Newark, New Jersey, and that's what I did.
And you'd get in your car and like drive to any of these places
Correct.
where they needed people.
Correct.
So you said you'd show up to the hall to get your assignment for the day.
Correct.
And the halls being the union hall.
That was a union hall, correct.
Right. And were you, as a newbie, a union member? Or
Oh, yes, I was a union member.
So like right away,
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
because some unions have like a waiting period or an apprenticeship or that kind
Well,
of thing.
you know what? In that sort of business, it's who you know.
Right. I
And
was
my
gonna
dad
ask.
was down there a long time,
Right.
and he had gotten me in again as a longshoreman.
Right. And there's lots of movies and, sensational stories about longshoremen
Correct.
and the Longshoremen's Union.
Correct.
And Jimmy
Very powerful union.
Jimmy Hoffa and, all this kind of stuff. Did you see any of that kind of stuff when you were a newbie on these? Or,
Well,
don't you want to say?
My dad had always had said to me, "You see nothing and you hear nothing,
Right.
and you say nothing."
Right.
In other words, mind your own business.
Right.
Whatever you see, you keep it to yourself.
Not a bad policy.
And that's the 3 words that I lived on working as a longshoreman.
Right.
I did my job. I got along with everyone. Everyone knew who I was because of my dad,
Right.
But that didn't make it any easier for me. I still
Did it make it tougher?
it didn't make it tougher, but I worked many night shifts in the freezing cold, unloading ships
Right.
and loading ships. Okay, I paid my dues like everybody else did.
Right.
I didn't get nothing for nothing. I worked for whatever I
Right.
my paycheck on Thursdays. Let's
Right.
put it like that.
On Thursdays. Right. But you hear a lot about kids who go into sort of the job that their dads got them, and everybody looks at them a little bit harder and
Okay.
expects zero mistakes. Was there any pressure to really perform perfectly because your pop?
No, I can honestly say no.
That's great.
When I went in, like I said, I shaped up at the hole. They sent me to different docks. I always wanted to be in Brooklyn because I lived in Brooklyn at the time. Okay. But if I had to go to Staten Island or, again, to Newark, New Jersey or Port Elizabeth,
Right.
I did what I had to do.
And what was your dad's name?
My dad's name was Salvatore.
Salvatore.
Correct.
Nice. Did you have siblings?
No, I don't have any brothers or sisters. No.
Okay. And you were brought up in Brooklyn mostly and Staten Island?
I was brought up in Brooklyn as a kid, downtown Brooklyn.
Nice.
It's considered Red Hook, Brooklyn.
Okay. Red Hook. And there's a canal or something that goes through there, right?
The Gowanus Canal.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, that's
It's a famous canal.
yeah. And where were the docks?
The docks were on First Avenue, like more McCormick lines, who I
Okay.
worked for, and who my dad worked for, was on 29th Street and First Avenue, right by the water. The Gowanus Canal is a little further south,
Okay.
which is in downtown Brooklyn,
Okay.
which goes right over the BQE, Brooklyn Queens Expressway. That's where the Gowanus Canal is. Fort Hamilton Bridge, that's above the Gowanus Canal.
And so where'd you go to school there?
Where I went to school?
Yeah.
I went to a Catholic school in downtown Brooklyn, which was St. Paul's. I went to a Catholic grammar school, and then I went to a public high school. I went to William E. Grady in Sheepshead Bay. It was a vocational technical high school.
Right. Catholic grammar school. And what were you interested in high school? What were your? Did you play on sports teams?
You know what? I was a car guy. I've always been a car guy. I was always into automotive. So I had taken up, for 2 years, I took up automotive trade. And then for
Nice.
my last 2 years, I took up construction technology as a woodworker, an electrician. They taught you several trades for 2 years. It wasn't only construction, meaning building. It had to do with painting, sheetrocking, electrical work, plumbing,
That's amazing.
air conditioning. It was a good school I went to. It was a great school. I enjoyed high school.
And probably stuff that like continues to help you to this day.
Correct.
Unlike, say,
Correct.
algebra, which
You know, I consider myself a backyard plumber, a
Right.
backyard electrician.
right.
And if there's something I can't handle, and I know that, of course you call a professional.
Right.
I'm not a professional. Again, I'm a backyard plumber, whatever you want, whatever trade you can think of.
Or nowadays, I mean, you look on YouTube, there's tutorials on how to do
That's
anything.
another thing. That's we didn't have that back in my day.
No.
Our YouTube was asking your grandpa
That's
or
right.
asking your father.
Hey, Pop, how do you sweat a pipe?
Yeah, Grandpa, could you maybe show me how to split this water pipe in half? And of course, they taught you.
And who was your grandpa?
I had my one grandfather was a cabinet maker,
Okay.
and he was a cabinet maker out of a big shop in Queens, in Middle Village, Queens. And my other grandfather was a coal delivery man.
Oh, wow.
He used to deliver coal,
Oh, boy.
and he used to deliver ice.
Uh-huh.
And
Ice
I
in the
remember him
summer.
as a kid. And that's what his job was. Actually, he used to bring the truck home, and he used to park it on the street.
Uh-huh. And this was in Brooklyn?
This was in Brooklyn, correct?
So where did the ice come from for Brooklyn deliveries?
If I'm not mistaken, this is going back a long time ago. There was an ice manufacturing company on New Utrecht Avenue in Brooklyn.
Oh, okay.
I think it was New Utrecht Avenue and like 39th Street or 40th Street,
Right.
where they manufactured the ice.
Oh, wow.
And he would go up, he would go down in the morning, pick up the ice, and deliver the ice to businesses and to private homes.
Right.
And there was some time throughout the year that he would deliver coal. I don't remember exactly what the months were, but that was he was basically a truck driver.
Right.
That's what he did.
And was he born in Brooklyn as well? Your grandpa?
No, that's my dad's father. He was born in not in Naples. He was Napolitan.
Napolitan?
He was Napolitan, Italian Napolitan, and my
that?
mom's mother and father were Sicilian.
Okay.
They were born in Sicily.
What does Napolitan mean? Napolitan?
That's Neapolitan, right?
Okay.
That's a dialect.
Napolitan.
Napolitan.
I never heard that. That's great.
And so I'm half Napolitan and I'm half Sicilian.
Uh-huh.
I'm not full Sicilian,
Uh-huh.
which a lot of people think I am, but I'm not.
Yeah. Well, I think the pizza business is really both, Neapolitan and Sicilian.
Correct. That's correct.
And so, do you see? So let me go back. When did you first get into the pizza business?
Okay, I got into the pizza business in 1987.
Okay.
Did I work in the pizza business beforehand? I did to help my in-laws,
Okay.
but I wasn't an owner.
Right. But you were making the pies,
Of
I'm
course,
guessing, and all
of
that
course.
stuff.
Making the pies, making the sauce, making cheese, so on and so forth.
And so did you inherit the recipes for
We did.
all of this?
I myself inherited the recipes in 1987 when Mom and Dad retired. And we had bought the business from my in-laws, from Mom and Dad.
Okay.
And that was in Saugerties.
Right.
They retired in 87, and my wife and I took over in 87.
Right. And so you inherited the recipes, but you've been making that recipe, I'm guessing,
Absolutely.
for a long, long time.
Absolutely.
What makes this sauce so good?
Fresh tomatoes, lots of garlic, lots of good ingredients. And you know what? If you don't put love in that sauce every time you make it, it's not going to taste the same.
Right.
If you don't like doing what you're doing, you shouldn't be in business.
Right. Right. So in 87, you took over the business, and all of a sudden you're not just making the pies, you're paying the rent and the electric, and you're
Correct.
hiring people and
I was
stuff.
paying my father-in-law his note every month like a good son-in-law that I was.
And
Okay.
how long did that last, paying off that note?
That was 10 years.
Right.
That was 10 years.
And then how did the father-in-law do after that? I mean, he's probably used to getting this.
He retired. Him and Mom retired.
Right.
My father-in-law, he earned his keep in this country. He came here by himself, and he had his 3 children and his wife in Italy. And he made do. He saved his money, and then he sent for his wife and his 3 children to come to this country.
Amazing.
Yes, he paid his dues.
And that was from Sicily.
And he was from Sicily. He was from a little town called Enna, E-N-N-A, in Sicily.
Uh-huh. So have you gone back to Italy? Have you retraced your ancestral roots at all?
I've never had. My wife has,
Right.
but I've never had.
Right. And now you're semi-retired.
Correct.
Any plans to travel and do something like that?
Well, before I semi-retired last January, I didn't take a vacation for over 28 years.
Egads.
I was in the shop every day,
Right.
whether it was a holiday, whether it was someone's wedding or someone's funeral. I didn't make all of these because I had a business to run, okay? And that's what I did.
Right.
But now that I'm sort of semi-retired, like you just mentioned, when people ask me if I want to, before they finish the sentence, my answer is yes.
That's good.
I say no to no one anymore.
That's
'Cause
fabulous.
I did that for almost 28, 29 years.
Well, thanks for saying yes to my fabulous producer,
So
Jen
that's
Hammoud.
why I'm here.
Yeah.
And I know I've turned you folks down several times, and I apologize for that. Something has always come up, but it's my pleasure to be here with you two folks.
Right. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You know, it's when I first started doing this with Radio Free Rhinecliff, you were one of the first people I thought of. You know, honest God, it was you and Bobby Fitzpatrick. You know
Okay.
him? I was like, these are two, in my mind anyway, town celebrities who are always there and always around and would have good stories about being in this town.
Correct.
Yeah. So you started 87 over in Saugerties.
In Saugerties.
When did you come to Rhinebeck and how come?
We came to Rhinebeck in 1997. There was a pizzeria that was there, and I guess he got ran out of town.
And there is the place where Cinnamon now is, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And that we call that Little Village Pizza. That's what we used to call it.
Okay.
And I had said to my wife,
he got ran out of town? How come?
that's what I heard.
Yeah, I heard that too.
That's what I heard. I didn't care about his past. I just wanted that little location.
Right.
And that little location wasn't going to be for me. I was going to open up that little shop for my son.
Nice.
My son was in the business with us.
How old was he in 97?
He is 54 now, so take away 28 years from 54.
I'm not doing that math.
There you go.
But he was old enough.
He was about 18 or 19 years old.
Right.
And he wanted to come into the business with us.
That's great.
And he worked with me in Saugerties for several years, and he did a great job. I'm very proud of him, and I'm very proud of my grandboys, but we're talking about my son. So I wanted to expand and open up another little shop, and I found this little shop in Rhinebeck.
Right.
Bang. We opened up Little Village Pizza.
Nice.
I put my son there.
What's your son's name?
My son's name is Rodney.
Uh-huh. Does he have siblings?
He does. He gave me 2 beautiful grandboys.
Oh, grandboys. But do you have other children?
I only have my one son.
Okay, Rodney.
Rodney, correct.
Uh-huh. So you got Little Village Pizza.
Correct.
And did Rodney run it?
I put my son there.
Yeah.
Now, I had just moved to, I was still living in Saugerties. And Little Village Pizza, I hit a home run there. I put out a good product. Everyone was beginning to know me. My sauce, my cheese, my pies, my dinners. They didn't get pizza like that in Rhinebeck. I don't know why, because there were other pizzerias in the village, in the town. But again, I hit a home run there.
That's great.
Rhinebeck was very good to me, and I was also very good to Rhinebeck.
Right.
I'm going to try to make this long story short.
Oh, we have plenty of time.
My son says to me, Dad, this shop is a lot to handle. Why don't you come to Rhinebeck, and I'll go back to Saugerties, because he knew Saugerties very well. He
Right.
knew the business. He knew all the customers. He wanted me to run the shop in Rhinebeck.
And he had graduated from Saugerties High?
He graduated from Saugerties High School, correct.
Right.
So I says, if that's what you want to do, let's make the transfer.
Huh.
He went back to Saugerties, and I took care of Rhinebeck.
So how long had he been at the helm in Rhinebeck?
He was in Rhinebeck, I'm going to say for about 8 months.
Okay.
And there's a little story behind that. In 1997, when we opened up in April, in October of 1997, I used to take a vacation in October with my wife and I, and we went to Aruba.
Oh, nice.
Well, I was in Aruba for 2 days, and my son called me and says to me, Dad, I hate to do this to you, but I can't handle Rhinebeck. It's way too busy. We don't have enough staff. I said, why is it so busy? Long story short, I was on the next plane back to Statsburg, where I live, back to Rhinebeck. And that was my last vacation in 1997.
Egad.
But I was only in Aruba for 2 days.
And why was it so busy?
I found out. In October, what happens in October? The leaves start changing. People start coming up
Oh, right.
from the city, Rhode Island, Massachusetts,
Sure.
Connecticut, and Rhinebeck booms in October. I didn't know that. I was a newbie in Rhinebeck.
Right.
No one told me how busy it was in Rhinebeck
Right.
in October, but I found out. So again, that was my last vacation in 1997 in Aruba, and I never went back.
Egads. So you came back, and you had been at the Helm and Sawgrady's.
Correct.
You went to Aruba,
Correct.
cut the vacation short, came back, and now you're at the Helm in Rhinebeck.
In Rhinebeck, correct.
So, but you're facing the same crowds that your son was facing. What needed to be done to make it not overwhelming, or was it just that you had the experience?
Okay, well, I had the experience, number one. My son was young at this,
Right.
but he was excellent in Sawgrady's only because everyone knew him in Sawgrady's.
Right.
And he knew the staff in Sawgrady's. When I came back to Rhinebeck, I had maybe 2 guys in my kitchen. I had 1 pizza man. I had a couple of young high school kids in the front. So when I came back, I started making a few phone calls to get some extra staff in, which no one ever said no to me. I can honestly say that.
I love that.
If I called one of my older high school kids, please, can you come in for a couple of shifts this week? I'm in bad shape. Al will be right there. I'll be in tomorrow at 11. I'll be in tomorrow at 4. Again, no one ever said no to me.
I love that.
Yeah.
And that's because you'd been a good boss and you were a pillar of the community. You're a nice guy.
Well, I have devoted people I have people that right now that work for me in Rhinebeck, 23, 24 years.
Right. And this is something somebody
Same in Sawgrady's.
This is something somebody said yesterday. Like, well, all the staff, the Rhinebeck location anyway, are just so happy and friendly and pleasant.
Correct.
Which is my experience.
Okay.
They said Al must be a great boss, and and you can usually tell how a boss is by the demeanor of the employees.
How long their staff is with them. Oh,
Right.
I agree.
Right.
But I am a good boss. I do whatever it takes to make a happy environment where everyone needs to get along, and I don't put up with any drama,
Right.
because the drama doesn't only stay in the shop, it goes to the customer also. In your behavior when someone walks in, you must say hello, you must say please and thank you,
Yeah.
you must say have a good day.
Now, and you were famous for saying hello to people, and I'm going to put my producer on the spot right now to do her impersonation of Al Mazzella. what you say when a young lady walks in the shop?
So I've been listening to this band since I think it's June of 2001, and I was a little hesitant to whether I wanted to stay in Rhinebeck or not. And then I heard, hello, young lady.
That's pretty.
Do you want me to do it again?
That's pretty good. Yeah, do it again. Give it another shot.
All right, I'll try it again. At the channel. I can't look it out or else I'll laugh. Hello, young lady.
Yeah, exactly. And that's when I get, hello, young man. And you're famous for the voice and the volume of the voice.
Okay.
This can't be news to you.
No, it's not. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not. I joke around a lot when people say, "Oh my God, you got a terrific voice," and I usually say, "I've never heard that before." You're the first person. No, you can't be. Well, I'm telling you the truth. I've never heard that before.
That's good.
But I like to. I'm in the people business again,
Yeah.
and that's what I try to teach my staff.
But lots of people in the people business don't have your voice.
Okay.
Did anybody in your line, grandpa or your father or mom have
No.
this big bass voice?
No. But someone is carrying on my voice, and that's my youngest grandson, Luca.
Oh, really?
He's got the exact same voice I have.
How old is Luca?
Luca's 23.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And what's Luca doing?
Luca is we're very proud of Luca. He lives in Brooklyn,
Uh-huh.
and he's in the restaurant business like we are.
Nice.
And he is he's a chef at a seafood restaurant in Manhattan.
Oh, nice.
And the name of the restaurant is called Penny.
Uh-huh.
It's so good. Oh my God.
Have you been there?
Yes.
Well, my grandson's a chef there.
Wow.
Are you serious?
No, I am. I am 1,000% serious.
This is great.
It is amazing.
This is great. He was also a chef in Williamsburg. The name of the restaurant was called Osamoko. It was another 5-star restaurant. And someone noticed him. Long story short, he is now with Penny, and he's doing very well.
That's great.
He loves his job. and so on and so forth. And we're very proud of him.
And he has your voice.
He has my voice.
That's
To the T.
hilarious. So do your employees ever bust your chops about your big booming voice?
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
That's
all
nice.
the time. Especially when they hear someone at the counter comment on my voice.
Right.
They'll joke around and say, "Here we go again," or something like that.
That's funny.
Right.
And you said some of your employees have been there like, 20
I
years?
have a young gentleman, not young, a middle-aged gentleman in the kitchen, Luis. He's with me for 24 years.
Amazing.
And I have a pizza man whose name is Victor.
Uh-huh.
He's with me 24 years.
So the kitchen is the chef who's making like the
Well,
chicken.
I don't have chefs. I have cooks.
Okay. What's the difference?
As far as being a chef, you're talking about a 4 or 5-star Michelin restaurant.
Really?
You follow me?
Yeah, sure.
We make homemade meals, recipes that are over 60 years old, and myself, and of course my wife, who was a big part of it, she taught our guys in the kitchen to continue our recipe.
I love that.
And I taught the guys in the front how to make pizza,
Right.
how to make calzones, how to make strombolis, how to make chicken rolls and Sicilian pies. That was my job.
And garlic knots, I'm guessing.
Victor makes great garlic.
You
Actually, he
garlic-
makes better knots than I do.
Your garlic knots are amazing. My
Right.
kids
Victor does a
just
great job.
all loved your garlic knots.
But I have 2 girls, the twins. I don't know if you know who the twins are.
Yeah.
They're with me since they're 16, 17.
Yeah.
They're
And what,
35, 36 years old now.
what are their names?
Mandy and Shauna.
Right. I remember I saw one of them somewhere else, like, I don't know, like 10 years ago. I'm like, wait a minute, what are you doing here? She said, oh, it's my sister over there. I'm like, no way.
Right, correct.
Twins.
Correct.
Mandy and Shauna.
Right.
So, and honestly, always with a smile on their face. Just fabulous.
Again, I'm
front of
very
house.
fortunate.
Yeah.
Knock on wood, I have a good staff.
Yeah. And,
Norm, tell him your favorite dish, your favorite meal there.
my favorite meal there?
Yeah, it's always the same. Tell him what you like.
Yeah, I always get the same thing. Meat lovers pizza.
With extra sauce.
And if yeah, well done.
With extra sauce.
And if you're on, that's exactly right. And if you're on the phone, you say, "You mean city?" I'm like, no, I'm going to call it meat lovers. Just going to be petulant person that I am. Yeah, the meat lovers pizza with extra sauce.
you
Well
go.
done. It is so good.
Thank you.
And I'm just in a week and a half, I'm having a birthday party for me. I'm turning 65, and I'm already thinking I'm going to order a bunch of those.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
because it's really. It's such a great pizza.
We call it the heart attack pizza.
Yeah, yeah,
Sausage, pepperoni,
yeah.
and bacon.
That's right. I got a coupon from my cardiologist for that.
It's enough to close up your arteries.
Yeah, I think it probably has.
But you know what you know what everyone says, whatever tastes good for you is not good for you.
Oh, jeez. I hate to hear that.
Well, I'm sorry.
Well, so what about you? A bunch of questions. What's your favorite thing on the menu? I'm holding the menu right here. What are some of your favorite things
We make
to
a
get?
great linguine with white or red clam sauce.
Uh-huh.
And the clams come in fresh twice a week.
Okay.
Whether it's white or red, they're both delicious.
Right.
Again, we're known for our penne alla vodka with shrimp or chicken. Our vodka sauce is homemade.
Dying to try
Baked
that.
ziti bolognese, lasagna bolognese. They're 2 good entrees also.
But I'm guessing you've had lots of meals there, and we went back to the kitchen and told your cook, "Hey, whip me up some whatever."
Right.
What's the favorite thing?
Very simple.
Yeah.
Linguine with garlic and oil.
Uh-huh.
I love that.
Yeah.
Or spaghetti with garlic and oil.
Uh-huh.
It's very plain. It's a peasant food,
Right.
but I enjoy that with a glass of Merlot.
Right. And do you serve Merlot there?
Oh, sure. We have a full wine, beer, and liquor license.
Great.
Sure, in both locations.
Right. So nice. And so that's your favorite dish to order from the kitchen.
Correct.
What's your favorite pie?
Pizza?
Yeah.
I like a slice with anchovies every once in a while.
Uh-huh.
Anchovies and onions.
Yeah. Anchovies. Now, I went online and got some pizza trivia. There's like 60 pizza trivia questions here. But one of them is the least favorite topping on pizza in America.
Okay.
And that's what you get, the anchovies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of people who like dead fish on their pizza.
No.
That's what a lot of people call it, dead fish.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I mean, it's a pretty...
People come in and ask for a deluxe pie, and they'll say, please, no dead fish.
Yeah.
Instead of saying no anchovies.
But you like it. Did you grow up having anchovies?
I did.
On everything, I'm
I
guessing.
did. I
Yeah.
grew up eating anchovies with one of my grandfathers and espresso.
Right.
As a little kid, 4 or 5 years old, I would have espresso at the Sunday dinner table.
Right. Now, we just discussed espresso, which you serve at Village Pizza, and I was not aware of that. I'm dying to try it. You
Sure.
said it's the Lavazza?
Lavazza brand coffee.
Uh-huh.
Well-known coffee. I think it has a great taste.
Right.
It's not a big, expensive machine that I have in. We opened up Village Bagels in Saugerties about 3 years ago,
Okay.
and my son does a fabulous job there.
Uh-huh.
They're, you know what water bagels are? Water-boiled bagels.
Yeah.
Okay.
But aren't all bagels,
Oh, no. Not
boiled
all
in wa-
bagels are water-boiled.
boiled in water and then
They're
cooked?
just baked in the oven.
Oh, well, that's
We
not a
boil-
bagel then, is it?
Well, bagels and bialys, they're
Right.
water-boiled,
Right.
and then they're baked. There's a big difference
And he's
in taste.
doing it right there in Saugerties.
No.
Oh.
Our cousin, well, not my cousin, he's my nephew, my son's cousin, Paulie, he's a Calcagno.
Uh-huh.
He opened up a manufacturing company in Kinderhook.
Okay.
That's where the bagels are manufactured. And he delivers them to my son every morning at 6 o'clock.
But that's where the bagels are boiled.
Correct.
And where they
And baked.
where they rise, get boiled and
Correct.
baked. And
And they get delivered to Saugerties every morning around 6:15.
oh, I'm drooling. Now I want to go try this bagel.
Delicious.
And it's up in Kinderhook, this place?
The manufacturing
Right.
plant is up, company is up in Kinderhook, and he also has a bagel shop in Kinderhook.
Right.
But my son opened up Village Bagels about, again, 3 years ago
Uh-huh.
in Saugerties.
So and did he consult with you before he did this?
He did. He thought it was a great idea to put a bagel shop in the village,
Right.
and we weren't trying to hurt anyone. There's Locks and Bagels. He does a great job. Okay. There's bagel shops in Kingston, Sunrise Bagels.
Right.
But my son thought it was a good idea to put a little bagel shop in the village of Saugerties.
Right.
And I said, fine, let's do it.
That's great.
And he did it.
You must be so proud of your kid.
I am so proud of my son. I'm proud of my both grandsons. I explained to you about Luca, what he does for a living. I also have my
Amazing.
oldest grandson, who's 25, and he's a fireman.
Oh, nice.
He's also a fire instructor.
Around here?
Well, Max was a fireman in the Bronx with
Okay.
the FDNY. He was an EMT, okay, and he did that for a little over 6 years.
Nice.
But he was in the Bronx, and he lived in the Bronx. And he got a great offer with the city of Kingston
Nice.
to be a fireman slash chauffeur
Wow.
with the city of Kingston.
Love that.
And he took that opportunity. So he's now a fireman in the city of Kingston, chauffeur, and he's also a fire instructor for New York State Homeland Security. He's been doing that for about, they hired him about 5 or 6 months ago. So he's got two great positions, one for the city of Kingston and one for New York State Homeland Security.
Love that.
I couldn't be more proud of him.
What a treat.
And he also helps us in the pizza business.
Oh, love that. So you're a grandpa, but you're not yet a great grandpa.
Not yet. Not yet. My oldest grandson is thinking about his two careers. That's what he's focusing on. He would like to buy some property and build a nice home somewhere. So he's doing that. He's doing that savings transition, you know.
Right.
And my other grandson, of course, is the chef at Penny's, okay, that you know about.
2 thumbs up from Jen Hammoud.
And he's doing very well. So
Right.
I'm very proud of my family.
Right.
My son and my two boys.
So you said, now that you're semi-retired, you're saying yes to
I say yes to everything.
everything.
Would you like to go out for dinner tonight?
Yes.
Absolutely.
I love that. And does your wife have lots of questions she wants you to say yes to? In terms of how
I
you
say
spend
yes to her every day.
But in terms of like retirement stuff, like travel or
You know what?
adventures, or
We've been away this past year. I mean, not 2025, 2024. We've been to Florida several times.
Oh, nice.
And I finally made it back to Aruba
oh, nice.
since 1997.
I love that.
And it was nice to be there again. Again, I'm trying to enjoy whatever years I have left on this earth.
Right.
And I'm keeping up my health, thank God. I was sick for quite a while years ago, but I've been pretty clean for almost 9-10 years now.
Oh, that's good. Well, when you say clean, that evokes a certain kind of sickness.
I'm cancer-free for about almost 9 or 10 years.
Oh, that's amazing.
Right.
That's so good.
I had it rough for about 13 years.
Oof. That's a long time to fight that shit.
It was a long time. It was a long time.
And so I'm guessing you're doing like chemo and radiation the whole...
I did all that.
Oh.
I did all that.
Well, fucking hats off to you, literally, for coming out the other side.
Thank you.
That's great.
I wasn't... it wasn't time for me to leave. I have a lot of people that depend on me.
Right.
And I wasn't going anywhere. And I made that promise to myself.
And depending on you, not just for jobs or institutional like memory and expertise, but for other things too. I mean, kids need a parent. Grandkids need a grandparent. How do you feel what wisdom have you passed down that you sort of see these kids latching onto?
I've had many young teenagers work for me.
Right.
Throughout the summers and even throughout high school and college.
Right.
And it's just the past. I mean, they're not going to be pizza counter girls or pizza men all their life.
Right.
Although I do have staff that have been with me, like I stated earlier, 24, 25 years. But I still have these kids coming in, which they're not kids anymore.
Right.
They're young adults.
Right.
And they've always thanked me for teaching them the basics in life. For example, how to talk to people.
Right.
Very simple. How to count change.
Right.
There's a lot of young folks that don't know how to count change.
You cads.
I'm sorry. I say it like it is.
Yeah.
And when I hire people, that's one of the first questions. Do you know how to count change? Well, of course I do. Well, show me. And they don't.
And so do you have a particular way you like it counted? Like, it's the bill's like $3.86. You're like, oh, here's 14 cents.
Well, if I give you a $10 bill, you got to count up.
Yeah.
If you count up,
you count the change first, and
correct,
then the singles,
and then the
fives,
bills, and then you count it back to the customer.
Right.
This way, you can't make a mistake.
Right.
Okay. Do they always count it back to the customer? Not on a Friday or a Saturday night when we're kind of crazy behind the counter.
Right.
But I try to emphasize that. Always count the change back to the customer.
Right. So that's a good one, counting the change. What else have these kids, not kids now, come back in and sort of thanked you for?
Well, they thank me for that little education.
Right.
That little street smart education.
Uh-huh.
You can go to college and have an 8-year degree or a 10-year degree.
Right.
But you don't know the difference between a Phillips head screwdriver or a common screwdriver.
Right.
Okay? For example, not too long ago, we were talking about what we're talking about now, about college kids having these degrees and so on and so forth, but they don't have any. I'm not talking about everyone. I'm just talking about people not having common sense.
Right.
Okay? If you have to call Central Hudson to come to your home and light your barbecue, I think we have a little bit of an issue.
Yeah.
Now, am I talking out of hand here?
I don't know. Oh,
because
no,
it says
not for the show.
Electronic ignition
Right.
on the
Oh,
barbecue.
God. I get it.
This person we're talking about
That's ridiculous.
didn't know how to light it. So
Yeah.
they called Central Hudson.
Right.
But let me stop for a moment. This person I'm talking about, to me, is considered a genius. He knows everything about everything.
Right.
He's got an 8-year degree,
Right.
but he didn't know how to light a barbecue.
Right.
So I have an issue with that.
It's tough. You know,
And I
all
always
the-
try to say, you need a little street smarts
yeah. And
to go on in life.
and how could people get that apart from working for you? Yeah, I'm thinking about education. When I was a kid, we had shop class and we had home ec class. So I learned to make things and use all the tools. And I learned how to like cook things and use all the kitchen tools.
Okay.
And that stuff has been incredibly valuable throughout
Sure.
my life. And I don't
Well-
think they do that now.
No, it's obvious what's going on now rather than generations before. When you came home from school, I mean, you changed the clothes, you put your old street clothes on, you went out and you played stickball and you played punch ball and you played stoop ball. You got that street education,
Right.
that street smarts when you were young. I'm talking 9, 10, 11, up into your teens.
Right.
But when the children come home today, and I see it in my own family, what do they do when they come home today? They're on their computers.
Right.
They're on their laptops. They can't put their cell phone down.
Right.
That's not getting street smarts.
Right.
My opinion.
Right.
Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right, but that's my opinion
Right.
about how you get street smarts.
So I'm imagining you now, and guess right in the 50s or so, playing stickball.
This was in the
downtown
this was in
Brook-
the 60s.
in the
correct.
60s, in downtown Brooklyn.
Correct.
It seems it's kind of idyllic. I mean,
It was a different world back then.
yeah,
Different world back then.
right. And were you in touch with any of any of your peers from that time?
There were 13 of us that grew up on the same block, and we were Jewish and we were Italian. That grew up on the same block.
Right.
We used to eat over each other's homes.
Right.
I'd go to one friend's home, and his mom would make chicken in a pot with matzo ball soup.
Right.
Out of this world.
Right.
I'd go to another friend's house, and his mother would make baked chicken with plátanos, which means bananas.
Right.
They were Spanish people.
Right.
They would come to my house, and my mom would make them spaghetti with meatballs or braciole or sausage. And it was great growing up then.
Yeah.
We didn't have a lot.
And was there any friction between the groups, between the
Never.
Italians and the Jews?
Never. We watched each other's back all the time.
Right.
And if my mother and father were going somewhere and I wanted to stay home, they would call the two neighbors three or four doors away. I'm leaving. Can you watch over Al? Or so on
Right.
and so forth. It was a great block to live on.
And what was the block exactly?
Excuse me?
What was the block?
The block was called Baltic Street.
Okay.
It was Baltic and Court. It was Huntington Street where I was first born. I grew up there, and then we moved to Baltic Street. That was in my grammar school days.
Right.
And again, it was a whole different world back then.
Right.
And I would do that again tomorrow.
Yeah.
I miss those days.
Yeah.
I really do.
I'll bet. What do you think it is you miss most about that?
What I miss about it?
Yeah.
I'm going to say my friends and their families, growing up in the streets, learning a lot.
Right.
Learning a lot. We were good kids. I mean, once in a while we would break someone's window with a ball, playing stickball in the street, but we never ran. We always stood, and whatever consequence it was, we had to take it. We didn't have a big playground to go to and play ball. We played
Right.
in the street.
All right. Here's a trivia question. What did you call the ball that you used for stickball?
It was a Spalding.
Right. Right. They used to.
It was a pink ball. It was called a Spalding.
They used to sell those at Stickles.
Sure, that's
Yeah.
right. It was called a Spalding, or it was called a Pensy Pinky.
Pensy Pinky.
That was another name for it.
Love that. Are you currently in possession of either a Pensy Pinky or a Spalding?
No, I'm not.
Well, when your wife hears this, she should get that for your birthday.
No, I'm not. And if you needed a stick
Right.
to play ball with, and you didn't have 50 cents, you would take your grandmother's broomstick
Yeah.
or her mop stick,
Right.
and that's what you would play ball with.
Right.
You know, and if you lost the ball, if the ball went on someone's roof, or went down a sewer somewhere,
Right.
what we used to do is we used to go around and collect bottles. And we'd collect enough bottles to buy a 25-cent Pensy Pinky at the candy store.
And what was it a penny deposit in the bottles?
2 cents.
2 cents.
The bottles were 2 cents.
Right. And where would you collect them from?
At the time, they still have them. I don't know if they were open, but they were open garbage pails on the corners in Brooklyn that the sanitation would put there, and people would
Right.
throw their bottles in there.
Right.
I mean, it sounds kind of gross now, but at the time it wasn't gross because that was 2 cents.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And,
And
when you're a
you
kid,
grabbed that bottle and you brought it to the local candy shop, which used to be called Mario's Candy Shop.
Uh-huh.
And he would take the bottles and give you 25 cents. And then you would give the 25 cents back to him and buy a Pensy Pinky.
Oh, he sold the Pensy Pinkies
He
too.
sold the balls. He sold the bats too. But the bats were expensive. They were 50 cents.
Right. Love that. But it doesn't sound like it's too difficult to collect, a
It
dozen,
wasn't.
dozen
It
or so
wasn't
bottles.
difficult to collect.
Right.
No.
What a great, great youth.
That's what we did. Again, we didn't have much, but we knew how to get it.
But it sounds, as you describe, I keep thinking there's a lot of freedom in that youth.
There was a lot of freedom.
Yeah, a lot of freedom. Like
There was
running
Again,
around.
We'd come home we'd get home from school at 3:00,
Right.
and you would walk home, and by 3:30 you were back in the streets playing ball.
Right. And were you a good student?
Excuse me.
Were you a good student?
I was a fair student. I was a good student in grammar school,
Uh-huh.
and I was a good student. I enjoyed high school, but as I got to be a junior or a senior, I enjoyed shop class,
Right.
which was that construction that I took up for 2 years.
Right.
And I did that. Did I want to be in school every day? No, not in the summertime.
No.
I would have rather been on the beach.
Absolutely. And what beach did you go to?
We used to go to Coney Island,
Uh-huh.
and we used to go to Manhattan Beach.
Nice.
And they were two great beaches. The fun beach was Coney Island.
Yeah.
It was right on the boardwalk,
Yeah.
right by Steeplechase and the parachute and the Wonder Wheel, and that's what we did on the
And would
weekends.
you and your friends or family hop on the subway and go out there, or does somebody have a car?
During on the weekends, in the summertime, my family would all get together, and we'd all go to Manhattan Beach, and it was a day trip. And my mom and dad and my grandparents, when they were alive, we used to cook on the beach, and it was a great family fun day.
That sounds
It
idyllic.
was a great family fun day, and I don't forget those days.
And what was the favorite thing for them to cook on the beach?
Believe it or not, they would cook pasta on the beach.
I love that.
They would cook clams on the half shell.
Right.
They would make mussels on the grill. Again, we didn't have much, but we had it all. Let's put it like that.
Sure.
We had it all.
That's just great.
It was a big family Sunday fun day.
Right. So you and your wife are empty nesters now,
We are.
and so you're probably cooking for yourselves a bunch. Who's the cook?
When I worked all these years, 7 days a week, I would get home at 10 o'clock, 10:30 at night.
Right.
I would have a full meal on the table every night.
Love that.
I'm not talking about a tuna fish sandwich.
Right.
I'm talking about a full meal every night on my kitchen table.
Right.
And that's what my wife did for me every night.
Spectacular.
So
What an amazing partnership.
absolutely.
Right.
I couldn't have done it without her. She was a big part of the pizza business with me.
Right. And what are some of the favorite meals that she made for you?
She makes an excellent lasagna. I would never eat in the store because I never had time.
Right.
You know, I mean, I'd sit and have a slice once in a while, or I'd grab a half a cold sandwich, but that wasn't a full meal. When I got home
Right.
at night, I had a full meal.
That's beautiful.
She would make a nice lasagna dinner for me. Double cut pork chops, which I love very much. You know. What else? She makes a great meatloaf. Again, a very peasant food, but a great meatloaf. And I would
love a
enjoy
good
that.
meatloaf.
Great meatloaf she would make.
Love that.
Right.
So let me ask about, you took over the Rhinebeck store, what was it, 97 or thereabouts?
We took over the Saugerty store in 1987.
And Rhinebeck
Rhinebeck, I opened up in 1997.
97.
Right.
And you were there for a number of years, and then Skemmy's moved out.
Skemmy's moved out. It's. I'm going to make it a short story.
Okay.
The little shop I was in, where Cinnamon is.
Right.
Okay. I always wanted to buy that building.
Right.
I wanted that building. I wanted to buy it. I didn't want to rent anymore. And the landlord promised that she would sell it to me. And it went on for about 2 years.
Right.
And she kept giving me excuses about talking to her children about it,
Right.
so on and so forth. And I didn't buy that anymore. Because if I had bought it, I would have extended it. I would have had the upstairs apartment turned into a dining room. Okay.
Right.
I had plans for that little shop. Again, it didn't work out. And I gave her a 2 months notice. And she had said to me, no, I'm going to sell it to you. I'm going to sell it to you. And I didn't buy that any longer.
Right.
Well, Skemmy's came up for sale.
Oh.
Skemmy's came up for rent.
Okay.
And there were two culinary boys that were in there. And they were running that. And they didn't make it. And I ended up taking Skemmy's location. And I'm there ever since.
Wait, so there was something between Skemmy's and you? You said these two culinary boys?
The two culinary boys were running Skemmy's.
Oh, okay.
They owned it and they were running it.
Gotcha.
They were working about 5 days a week. And they were opening for just dinner.
Oh.
They were opening at 3 to 9. They were closed on Sunday and Monday. And they weren't making it.
Right.
I say no more. They
No.
were great guys.
Right.
Were they good chefs? They were. I've eaten in there several times.
Right.
They knew what they were doing.
Right.
But again, they weren't making it and they were leaving.
Right.
And they were selling whatever they had in there. They were selling the business,
Right.
which I bought.
Right.
I bought their business. And then I taken over the location from the previous landlord that I have now.
Right. And you took over their business, and you made some changes to the interior.
I changed the entire operation.
Right. I think they used to have a long counter you could sit at.
Actually, the counter is still there. I just I put up some wainscoting. I redid the counter, but we used the same counter that you come in and I serve you on.
Right.
That's the original counter that was in the back
Oh, okay.
of Skemmy's.
No, but there were seats, there were stools or something on that counter all the way back.
There were those big wooden boots, which I still have. They're downstairs in the basement.
Nice.
Right.
Huh.
We had, I'm not going to say several. I had more than several people that were upset with me when I took that location over.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Well, they didn't want me to change.
Well, this is that kind of a
You
town.
remember the walls had all the old wallpaper on it?
Oh, yeah, and all kinds of like tchotchkes you could buy.
Correct. Well, the tchotchkes they took, but they left the showcases. But the showcases were an eyesore for me.
Okay.
They were in my way. I didn't need showcases. I wasn't selling tchotchke. I'm selling pizza.
Right.
You know. So we revamped the place. And again, there were a lot of people that were unhappy with me.
Yeah.
They knew who I was because of Little Village Pizza.
Right.
But now that I took over Skemmy's, I changed that whole environment. So I did lose customers. I did lose people.
Just because locals were used to it how it was. And
Correct. They wanted me to
didn't
keep
want any
it
change.
the exact same way, and I couldn't
Right.
do that.
That's funny.
I couldn't do that.
Yeah, recently interviewed the folks who took over Stickles.
Okay.
And I didn't.
John and his wife.
Super
Great
nice.
people.
Delise and John, yeah.
Very nice people.
And now I'm like, I should have asked them if people expressed displeasure, gave them a hard time
Okay.
for changing this beloved old...
You know, I can't answer that.
Yeah.
I can't answer that.
But how did people give you a hard time about changing...
well, they'd come in and say not nice things to me.
What the heck?
Okay. And my response was kind of very, as nice as I could possibly say it. If you didn't want change, you should have bought the place.
Right. Exactly.
I'm sorry. And I would say I'm sorry.
And you don't have to say it nicely. This is internet radio.
Well, I did say it nicely because I don't want to lose customers.
Right.
Know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They knew me from being down the block.
It's good business. So you probably keep politics out of the workplace as well.
I do.
Solid business decision.
I do.
Especially these days.
Oh, my God. You have no idea.
Probably less harmful to share your political leanings 30 years ago. Now, forget about it.
I keep politics out of my shops.
Right.
I keep politics out of my family.
Right.
Don't talk to me about who's the president, who's going to be the president, who was the president.
Right.
You can't talk to me about this.
Smart.
If you want to stay my first cousin, we're not going to talk about politics.
That's good. And
if you want to stay my son,
yeah,
we're not going to talk about politics, Rodney.
Wow. What about the missus?
We don't talk politics.
Do you have anybody in your life you talk politics with? I talk politics all the time.
No, I can't.
But your policy's probably better.
I can't.
Yeah.
I can't do that. I'm a very thick-headed Sicilian.
Uh-huh.
Okay? And
half Sicilian.
Sicilian, I'm sorry. And I know what I'm talking about. Okay? Again, I am not going to sit here and argue with you because it's not going to end well.
Right.
And I'm going to lose a son.
That's right.
And I may lose a wife for 6 months who's not going to talk to me.
Right. You learned your lesson as a longshoreman in the docks. See something, say nothing.
Correct.
Just don't say anything.
Correct.
Keep your mouth shut.
Correct. So I do not talk politics with anyone.
Right.
I've got a lot of great customers that want to talk to me about this one and that.
Right.
I can't do that. I'm sorry.
Right.
Don't be upset with me. I just can't do that.
Yeah. Like I say, that's a solid policy. Probably super good. All right, listen, we're running out of time, but I still have lots of questions.
Okay.
So on my list that we just didn't get to. Here's the first one. What the hell's with white pizza? How is that even pizza?
It's a great pie.
Yeah.
It's dough. It's mozzarella cheese.
Yeah.
And it's fresh ricotta cheese.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of grated pecorino romano shaken on it.
Right.
And it's baked in the oven.
Yeah.
It's got a great taste.
Well,
no red sauce.
Well, you know my order, right? Extra sauce.
Correct.
So the white pizza is a mystery to me.
No,
why anybody would want that. This is just
But have
beyond
you ever
me.
tasted white pizza?
I might have had a bite once. It's blasphemous for me.
Okay, I'm sorry.
And speaking of pizza blasphemy, what about pineapple on pizza?
Oh, please.
Would you
Yes.
do that for people?
I do that for anyone.
So you serve it, and
Of course.
and you don't give that attitude when you serve it.
No.
You don't sneer at people who order the Hawaiian.
I'm not called a pizza Nazi for no reason.
Is it on your menu? The
Yes,
Hawaiian.
it is.
It is.
It is.
Looking
It's
at the
under
menu.
gourmet pies.
Right. Love that. The Hawaiian.
Hawaiian. I mean, years ago in mom and pop's days, there were 3 toppings:
Right.
pepperoni, sausage, and mushroom. If you asked Pop to put anything else on that pizza, you wouldn't want to hear the response.
Right. What?
Pineapple.
Get out.
In broken English, he would tell you to get the hell out of the store in broken English.
I love that.
Okay.
Can you do an impersonation of his broken English?
I can. If you no understand of me, that's your problem and not mine. That's what he used to say to people.
I love that.
If you don't understand of my broken English, that's your problem. It's not my problem.
It's no my
But
problem.
that's what Pop used to say all the time.
Right. Love
God
that.
bless him.
Oh, yeah. God bless him. Here's a question I had. Can you tell if someone's from the city based on how they order their pizza?
I could.
Yeah.
I could.
How does it differ upstate versus downstate versus the city area?
For example, when you go to a pizza shop in Brooklyn,
Yeah.
you don't get a paper plate.
Right.
They put a slice on a deli wrap. You know what a deli paper is?
Yeah.
A deli wax paper?
Yeah.
That's what you get a slice on.
Right.
And if you ask the guy, could I have a plate? Or you know what? Could I have a knife and fork? Not going to happen.
Right. Right.
Again, if you walk into Village Pizza, we give you 2 plates. Knife and forks, plastic ones are right on the counter. Help yourself.
Right. Now you guys were raided by this Dave Portnoy guy,
He was. Excuse me, we were. And
for
it was
people-
unfortunate, but my son says it wasn't unfortunate. Thank God you weren't there, Dad. I wasn't there at the time.
And did you know of this fellow beforehand?
I never heard of him. Has my my son and my grandkids know of him? Yes.
He's an internet phenomenon.
correct. I
Who's
knew it after the fact.
one bite, you know the rules. He eats
Correct.
pizzas all over.
Correct.
And he had gone. Somebody had told him to come to Rhinebeck to go to Posto.
But he ordered at
And he
Posto.
comes around. Yeah,
He called Posto
yeah,
and he ordered a pie from them.
yeah.
So when he got there, the pie was ready.
And then he comes around the
He
corner.
just walked into me
Yes.
and ordered a slice.
Right.
Told the girl behind the counter I'd like a slice.
And
She gave him a slice, and out the door he went.
yeah,
She didn't know who he was.
that's great. So so you saw this since then?
Well,
his review online.
I saw it online, correct.
And what do you think of it?
I wish I was there.
What would have been different had you been there?
You know, if he would have told me that he was going to review my slice and give me a rating, you know what? I wouldn't have bought that. I'm sorry.
You wouldn't have what?
I wouldn't have bought that.
Right.
I wouldn't have bought. Again, my son says, Dad, I'm so thankful you weren't there. It wouldn't have turned out too well.
Right. Interesting.
That's what I am.
Huh.
I can't change that.
Well, so what does that mean? You wouldn't have bought it? What were you? What
know,
what would your son think you would have done?
He said, Dad, you probably would have thrown the guy out.
Right.
Okay, and I don't know if I would have done that, but what I've been nice to him, I don't think so.
Right.
I don't think so. And we have
But you're nice. To,
we have other family members that own pizzerias, and they swear up and down if he ever walked into their location, they would throw him the hell out.
I wonder how many people do.
If you watch him online, there's not a lot of people that really like his attitude.
I don't like his attitude at all.
Okay.
But I see this and I watch them.
Right.
And I watch it enough to know that the rating that he gave you guys is a pretty good rating.
That's what my son says.
Yeah.
It was a 7.2.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Exactly.
Okay. Okay. I'm in the pizza business over 40 years.
Right.
I know the product I use.
Right.
I know how my product is made every day. Okay. The dough we make today, we don't use today. We use it tomorrow.
Right.
You've got to ferment your dough.
So it has some time
You
to
have
rise.
to.
Right.
Okay. I can't use this dough that I made at 9 o'clock this morning. I can't use it at 2 o'clock today.
Right.
It's not the right thing to do. So
Right.
I know how to make pizza. I know how to bake pizza. Okay. You can't come in and tell me that my pie is only rated 7.2. I have a problem with that.
Well, he's a tough rater, but like the people around who know him tell you, for him that's a pretty good rating.
That's what I was told.
So, have you had pizza from the other pizzerias around here?
I haven't, no.
Oh, you haven't. Have you ever tried Posto?
No.
Okay, and there's a Detroit-style pizza in Poughkeepsie
Nope,
called Hudson
sorry.
and Packard.
No.
No, none.
No.
And and just around the corner is Gigi, and they make a skizza.
They're great people. They're good customers of mine. I've
Yeah.
never had a pie in there.
Right. I love that.
I've never had a pie in there.
Uh-huh.
No. When I do go out and it's an Italian restaurant and they have pizza on their menu, I don't order pizza.
Right. What do you like to order?
Whether, again, Italian restaurant, I won't order an eggplant parmesan or a chicken parm or a veal parm. We make that ourselves.
Right.
You know, would I order what could I say? If it's a homemade manigotti or a homemade stuffed shells,
Right.
I will order that.
Right.
Okay. We don't make, we no longer make manigotti or stuffed shells in our shops.
Okay.
Okay. It was an item that never moved.
Right.
And after 2 or 3 days in the cooler, I wouldn't serve that. It would end
Right.
up in the garbage.
Right.
Know what I'm saying?
Right.
But that I would order in an Italian restaurant.
Right.
Okay.
Nice. And do you go out for dinner much around here?
We do. I'm going out now. We go to the market. We go to Gigi's. We go to La Petite. Gigi's, the market, La Petite. I like the market very much. He does a great
Right.
job. I was at Gigi's the other day with an old good friend of mine. We had lunch there.
Uh-huh.
Superb.
Nice. Foster's, Beekman Arms.
Foster's, I go to Foster's maybe once, twice a month.
Right.
I go there with some friends.
Nice.
The Beak, The last time I was at the Beak was St. Patty's Day.
Oh.
That was a long time ago.
Right.
But they put out a great corned beef and cabbage.
Right.
And I enjoy that.
St. Patty's Day coming up.
And we'll probably go there again.
Right.
But I have been at the Beak for burgers. They make good burgers.
Oh, nice. Now, what about the big days in Rhinebeck? Sinterklaas,
Oh.
Fair Week. Oh, you shuddered. Let the record show for the radio. He visibly shuddered.
When you mentioned Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Santa Claus is a great day for all the merchants in the village of Rhinebeck.
Right.
But that's not how I want to run my business.
Because it's just a terror.
It's out of hand.
Right.
I literally stand at the front door around 3 o'clock on Santa Claus Day
Right.
and let 4 people in, 4 people out.
Right.
4 people in, 4 people. I do that until we close. Only because it gets out of hand.
Right.
I have 2 lines. Line for pickup and line for order.
Right.
And I have a line out the door.
Right.
And if I didn't do that, it would be mayhem in that location.
Yeah, I know you do that. And I know you do that from reading the reviews on Yelp and TripAdvisor.
Okay.
Do you ever see these online reviews?
I have, and I stopped reading them.
Smart.
I stopped reading them.
Yeah.
Some of them were upsetting to me.
Almost all of them are favorable, but some of them like, oh, I was there during Sinterklaas, and the owner was like only letting a few people in at a time.
Correct. That's correct.
And people didn't like that.
Correct. And a lot of folks would, I would say, okay, 4 people in, please. Well, we don't want to order. We just want to use the restroom. I'm sorry.
Right.
The restroom is out of order. Well, it was out of order last year.
Yeah.
And I would say to them, it's going to be out of order next year also.
Yeah. Yeah. Connect the
see,
dots.
My toilet in Village Pizza in Rhinebeck cannot handle 12 to 14,000 people.
Right.
I'm sorry. The bathrooms are closed.
Right.
And a lot of people would leave upset.
Right.
Okay. And again, the village of Rhinebeck should do something about that.
Yeah.
And don't tell me you're putting up 10 porta potties in the municipal parking lot.
Right.
You're talking between 12 and 14,000 people. What are 10 porta potties going to do in the village of Rhinebeck?
Right.
Nothing.
No, it's tough. Well, what about Fair Week? How is that for y'all?
Fair Week is a good week for me. And I'll explain to you why. We have families that come in before they go to the fair. Only because my prices are very reasonable.
Right.
You could feed 4 people for under 20, 22 bucks in Village Pizza.
Right.
You can get a large pie and a pitcher of soda and feed 4 people for $22, $23, including tax.
Right.
You can't do that at the fairground.
No way.
Again, I'm not knocking the fairground. I'm not doing that.
One fried dough is $15.
Okay? The fair is a great thing for the community. I love when it comes in. I used to go up when I was younger. My kids were younger. My grandkids were younger. Obviously, I don't do it any longer.
It's a
But
blast.
Fair Week is a good week for me. Who
good.
doesn't like Fair Week are the locals.
Right.
And I don't blame them because they can't get around. Traffic is horrendous. Parking is horrendous. That's what I have to say about Santa Claus and Fair Week.
Yeah, it's tough. And most local merchants feel the same way. It's like
Yes.
it's a good time for profit, a bad time for ad stuff.
Yes. And what makes it bad for me is that I'm just a pizzeria.
Right.
So people don't mind walking in using my bathroom.
Right.
It's a pizzeria. It's not a high-end restaurant
Right.
like Gigi's
I
or the
see.
Terrapin
Right.
or the Market. They wouldn't dare walk in there and ask them to use the bathroom because it's a high-end restaurant.
Right.
Well, you know what? Let's go to Village Pizza. Or let's go to Pete across the street, Pete's Luncheonette. They'll let us use the bathroom.
Sure. Pete's Luncheonette. So just a couple more questions I had.
Go ahead.
During the lockdown, March 2020, the beginning of this pandemic, your place was considered an essential service. Was that just sort of, did somebody come by, some official say, oh, you're essential service?
No.
But you stayed open.
Well,
You served
for
everybody.
For the first 2 weeks, we had it rough. And I had thought and I had spoken to my son also, we thought we were going to close up the shops because of the mask and the virus and so on and so forth, and people weren't going out. And we actually thought we were going to close up the shops. But the tables and the chairs were on top of the tables for a very long time. And after 2 weeks, we made up some big signs that we put on the front windows of both locations. Take out, pick up only. I don't know if you remember the humongous sign I had on my front window.
Yeah.
And it said, take out and pick up only. That kept us afloat. Rhinebeck was very grateful to me. And again, I was very grateful to Rhinebeck.
Right.
We weren't delivering. We wouldn't dare go to anyone's home, okay? People were coming in with masks on, with gloves on. We were doing the same. People didn't want to come in the shop. They wanted us to bring the food out to their vehicles.
Right.
And we would do that also.
That's great.
And we did that for a very long time. And that's how we kept afloat. That's how we kept our business going, to pay our staff and to pay our bills and so on and so forth. Again, Rhinebeck was very appreciative, and we were very appreciative to Rhinebeck.
Right.
It worked out well for us. I'm sorry. I didn't want to see COVID come again, but we made something so drastic. We made it turn into a good thing for the village and for Village Pizza.
Right.
For the community.
Yeah, it was great that you were there.
Correct.
I remember going into your shop, months and months after the shit hit the fan.
Right.
And it felt so good to go there, to be doing this
Were the
regular
chairs
thing.
down when you came in? Or were the chairs still up? We had the chairs up for almost a year.
Yeah, I think, I got it to go.
Okay, right. So
But
the chairs were still up.
just the simple act
Right.
of walking into town and going to the local pizzeria.
Right,
was
and grabbing a slice.
Was such a relief.
There you go.
To go back to that ordinary part of my existence.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was a little bit of normality for you.
Yeah. Yeah, and for me and for so many others, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And one of the things, when you go online and look up Alan Mazzella and Village Pizza Rhinebeck, one of the things that comes up all the time is when Rhinebeck became an autistic supportive environment. And you're quoted in all the articles about that.
Yeah.
And what's your policy for that?
I do anything for those children.
Right.
Anything. And for their parents. And you take not in the wintertime, but in the spring and the summer, which is coming up soon, on Saturday and Sunday, the parents would pick up their children in Statsburg, and they bring them to Village Pizza. And the kids can act however they want to act.
Right.
I have several kits behind my counter. They're little toys and little games that the autistic school gave to me, that when the children come in and they're acting a little too much, I'll bring these over to the children.
Right.
The parents will understand. And again, there's several of these kids recognize me when they come in.
Love
and they
that.
want to hug me and give me high fives and give me pounds. And I love it.
Right.
I love it. They're great kids. They're great kids.
Love that.
All of them are. And I would do anything for that school. Anything.
Right. This is Anderson School?
Anderson School for the
Right.
autistic children.
Right.
The way I do anything for the hospital, the Baptist home, the Astor home. I give so much to these organizations.
And I'm guessing every organization who's have a fundraiser or whatever, hey, can you buy an ad in our program? Can you do this?
Absolutely.
Like
I turn nobody down.
Right.
I turn nobody down. We get so many people that come in. I say no to no one.
Right.
Okay? I give a little to everyone.
That's great.
I can't give a lot to everyone, but I give a little to everyone. But do I have exceptions? I do. The hospital, the autistic school, Baptist home, Astor home, I give them a little more than anyone else.
Right.
I care for these people. Not only are they good customers of mine, but I know what they do for a living.
Right.
These people don't get paid enough.
No. No,
I say that all the time.
The beautiful services they provide.
These people, with their services, they don't get paid enough.
No.
So if I go above and beyond a little bit more, it makes me feel good.
Well, it's a beautiful policy, and you're a beautiful man, and this has been a beautiful interview.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. We're out of time now, but will you do one thing for me before we go?
Absolutely.
Will you say what you say to me every time I walk into the door of Village Pizza?
Good afternoon, young fella. How are you?
I love that. Thank you so much, Al Mazzella, for being here. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Have a great Friday evening and a fabulous weekend. Thanks to Jen Hammoud and the Nook at the Epicurean and Patricia Wend for letting us set up here.
Thank you, sir.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Jen,
Al.
thank you very much. It's been great.